It's almost over. The international break is almost over. Football is back this weekend. Club football, that is, not international football. Yeah, England qualified for the World Cup, but come on, you knew that was going to happen. But what is less predictable is what's going to happen this weekend in the Premier League. Let's have a look at the 5 highlight matches on this weekend, guys, and I'll preview them and give my thoughts on what the scores are going to be. So match day 8 in the Premier League season kicks off Saturday lunchtime. Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Forest, of course, still without a win under their new manager, Ange Postecoglou. Chelsea, they've been a bit wobbly here and there, of course. They've had some slip-ups in recent times, but they did manage to beat the defending champions Liverpool just before the international break. Amaresca's position was questioned, which I found a bit farcical, to be honest with you, but what I find a little bit more believable is the position of Big Ange is being questioned at the City ground. Now, I don't think that changing the manager is a good idea at this stage by any means, but we know what Marinakis is like. He's not exactly a level-headed person. But what is this one going to be? How is this going to work out, this match? Well, I think Chelsea are probably going to win, to be honest, and I don't think that's a particularly bold prediction to go for that, to be honest with you. Chelsea are a much better side. Forest edging towards that relegation zone. They are really struggling, and this just doesn't feel like a game that Forest are going to get their first win under Big Ange. Of course, crazier things have happened, but I'm going to go for the Blues to win this one by 2-0. Next up, let's head to the 3 o'clock games on Saturday. Crystal Palace against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are absolutely flying right now in the Premier League under Areola and are currently in the top 4 in a Champions League place at the time of recording. Palace were also flying under Ollie Glasner, but of course got unstuck in their first defeat in 5-6 months against Everton last time out before the international break. Palace are still a good team though, of course, particularly at Selhurst Park. So how is this one going to work? So how is this going to work out between these two sides? Well, I think Bournemouth are probably slightly the better side here, but I do think they're going to drop points against Crystal Palace, but I'm not going to back Palace to get a win here. I'm going to go for a draw. An entertaining draw though, Desmond 2-2. And for the third game, I'm going to head to the late kickoff on Sunday evening. Fulham against Arsenal, another London derby. Of course, the Gunners coming up against West Ham United last time out, and I do think they are going to get a similar victory this time around. Fulham's record against Arsenal is really not the best, to say the least. Fulham have been a decent side this season overall, but I think they're just going to be in there in the mid-table. I don't think they've got enough to beat Arsenal this time out. I think Arsenal's form, especially of course now they are the league leaders, it's just going to be too much for them. So I think Arsenal are just going to get a routine away victory, clean sheet, you know, the kind of thing that we very much expect under Mikel Arteta in recent seasons. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory to Arsenal. Next, let's head to North London to talk about Tottenham Hotspur. They take on Aston Villa in one of these Sunday games, this being a 2 p.m. kickoff. Spurs again are doing pretty well under Thomas Frank, it's fair to say, and despite a slow start for Unai Emery's Aston Villa, they do seem to be hitting a bit of better form now. They got a few wins in a row, so how do I see this one going? Well, again, I think it's going to be quite a tight game like Crystal Palace against Bournemouth, and to be honest, I'm going to go for the exact same scoreline as what I did in that one. I think Villa are potentially the better side right now in terms of their form, but Tottenham do have the home advantage at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I think overall, I'm going to go for Spurs and Villa to draw here. Desmond 2-2. And lastly, the big one on Sunday evening, Liverpool against Manchester United. Two teams in fairly contrasting form. I mean, Liverpool not been in their best form recently, it's fair to say, but Man United probably in the worst form of the two overall, particularly away from home. This is going to be at Anfield, so Liverpool are going to have a natural advantage there, but it's fair to say Man United really schooled them in this fixture last season. Man United probably should have won at Anfield last season, and indeed they would have done had Harry Maguire not skied an absolute sitter late on. Man United have been very poor away from home. They've not been too bad at Old Trafford, but away from home they've really struggled in the Premier League this season, and indeed in all competitions. Of course, they lost against League 2 Grimsby in the League Cup, lest we forget. Liverpool have not been in the best form, and of course they've had a couple of weeks now just to rest, relax, or at least, you know, focus their attention on the international duties instead. So I think they're going to have just enough to beat Man United. I do think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a interesting game between the two of them. I don't think there's going to be a lot between them, but I'm going to go for quite a few goals in this one. I'm going to go with 3-2 to the Reds in this one. So yeah, those are the 5 matches I'm looking out for in the Premier League this weekend, guys. Match day 8 coming up. I'm so glad club football is back. I mean, international games are important, of course they are, but come on, this is what it's really about. Let's be real here, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this on thefootballchronicle.com. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.